What's up everyone, Space Archer here today. Welcome back to another video, and today we are back with another video right here. Today's video is definitely going to be very interesting today, because this is definitely going to be a different kind of video that I didn't even think I was ever going to actually do in quite some time now. But I thought of it and I've decided that, hey, why don't we make a little bit of a tier list video? But what type of tier list video would it be? So that is why we are going to be doing this with some Helluva Boss shorts. Yes, guys, I am going to be rating each of them from the worst to the best. That's right, people. We're going to be doing a tier list of rating from the worst to the best of each of the Helluva Boss shorts. Which currently there are only 10 of them, but this is something I've actually thought of after watching the newest short that's been out for a couple days now. Yeah, so this one was definitely something I didn't even think about actually doing, but since I did have a lot of fun actually reacting to all of these shorts, which are pretty much different concepts of the episodes themselves in the Helluva Boss universe and everything, but still they somewhat connect with the story and everything else, but in different perspectives and everything. While some of them are really fun to watch, but there are definitely some that I do definitely feel were a mixed bag, or some of them were, well, mediocre at best here. But that is why I am going to be rating them from the worst to the best in my opinion. If y'all don't agree with any of my opinions, that's totally fine. This video is just made for fun. I just thought of doing this just for funsies and everything here. So without further ado, let's get started and rate those shorts right here. Woohoo! Okay, so here we are in the tier list right there. So we got all the episodes right here, all the shorts that are seen right here from 1 to 10. Yeah, so there's currently 10 of them already, and we're going to see exactly as to which one is the best and which one is the worst, because, well, I definitely do have a lot of things to say about them. So we got here all the tiers right there. So we got S tier, that obviously means the best, A tier, which means good, doesn't really stand up with S, but it's still good. B is okay, but I mean, it is definitely in the okay side. C is definitely mediocre. Like, it's not bad, but it's not good either. And D is obviously the worst of them all. So yeah, D is literally our F+ in this matter here. So obviously we're going to go at our first ever short that came out just a while ago. When concepts of shorts didn't exist, there was always episodes of this series alone. But that all changed when they introduced us to our first ever shorts, Hell's Bell. It's a story about Millie visiting with her sister, Sally Mae, who came to visit the city after having to do a lot in the Wrath Ring. So yes, this is the first ever short where basically the premise of this is basically Millie hanging out with her sister. Now, that might sound just a little bit generic for some people. I mean, there's a lot of, like, sisterly bond thingamajigs comes around in this matter here, but this one I definitely actually really enjoyed, because this is actually the second time we actually got to see Sally Mae, if not even better. Now, if y'all remembered in episode 1 of season 1, they actually introduced Millie's family members, including her sister, Sally Mae, who didn't get a lot of screen time at the time here, so not a lot of people actually know exactly as to what she looks like. But this is actually where things got very interesting. We got to know a lot about her personality, and we got to see as to what she is like and everything, just to see how she and Millie interact and how they just joke around and everything else here, how they act. Yeah, this is definitely really, really fun to watch. Like, seeing them both, like, play games and go and do some dress-ups and dancing at the dance club together. Yeah, this is just really amazing just to see their bond just blossoming and everything here, because it definitely does show as to what they were like at home and what they're like here. Also, F the freaking Wally's arcade there. Like, my boy cannot take a break in this matter here. That's not really all there is today here. Besides from the sisterly bond that Millie and Sally had, there's actually a very interesting little lore-based scenario where we actually got to see Sally's perspective after Millie joined in the imps. So basically it turns out Sally has been struggling through to keep the family afloat because, well, Millie hasn't really been around for quite some time now, ever since she's got the bounty hunting job. It put in a lot of stress on her, and that really does take a toll a little bit on the family. Now, we do see that Millie does have somewhat of a family issue going on here, but it's not as bad as Blitz or Moxie's scenario, but it definitely is pretty tricky at some cases here. Yeah, so it's really nice seeing that we actually got to see more about Millie's own past scenario, even though the show doesn't really reveal a lot of this stuff with Millie and everything. But it's so nice seeing that we got to learn more about Sally Mae, and let me just say, she really is the best character in this short right here. I really loved her personality. She really is super cute, and I freaking love the outfit that they gave her in the short. It looks super iconic. I just love it. Yeah, this short definitely is super fun, and this one has to be one of my favorites. Of course, definitely, this is the first ever one, so of course it's definitely going to be good right there. I just love it to pieces here, and I love Millie and Sally's sisterly relationship that they have here. So yes, after watching Hell's Bells, I will definitely be proud to say I will give this an S tier right there, because obviously this is the best one right there. So next up we have here is Mission Antarctica, which is our second short of the matter right here. This is basically where they introduce the missions with the imps going on ahead to kill some targets here. So the second short basically displays Blitz, Millie, and Moxie going to Antarctica to find their target. However, once they got to the hideout, they saw that everyone was pronounced dead on the spot. They had no idea exactly as to who the heck caused all this or what, but then they encountered this enormous freaking ferocious leopard seals right there. If y'all know about leopard seals, y'all know that these things are the demons of seals. But by the second of it, they nerfed the guy. And when we thought that this was all over, suddenly, penguin! Not just a penguin, swearing penguins! Yeah, so the next scene after that whole thing, they're now being attacked by freaking penguins who basically are just about to kill them and everything. Yeah, this, if y'all didn't even know, this actually got even more crazier because a bunch of freaking penguins are now about to kill them. And yeah, it just led to this nonsense of a scene right there. And, yeah, during all this, Blitz is trying to use the Asmodean crystal just to make the portal for them to escape. However, the gem doesn't respond to his grasp as he tries harder and harder, but for some reason, Moxie had to lick it in order to save everyone here. Like, why the hell is that even needed? I don't even know why the heck that is needed at all causes, really. They always have to show up these nonsensical freaking scenes like this in the freaking series alone. I get it, this is an Asmodean crystal, which is created by Asmodeus himself, the King of Lust himself, but still though, it's so freaking weird that, do we really need that segment right there? That basically was the second short right there, and I gotta really say, I mean, it didn't really start off to be too intriguing for me at first, but when the freaking penguins show up, yeah, things got really messy up in this household right there. Yeah, I do definitely like the scenes with the penguins in every way whatsoever here. I quite enjoyed this one. But at the same time, it didn't really spark me all too well right there. It wasn't really much, so I'll definitely give this SC tier right there. Alright, next up we have here is the third short. Oh boy, this one right there. It is called Mission Weabooo. So, in this short, Blitz is on his own trying to kill his target. But what he didn't know is that the target is a little crazed fangirl. Yeah, so basically, here we meet Amberline Pingle. She's basically the target that Blitz is trying to kill, and let me tell you about her character. She's basically this crazed fangirl who basically likes, well, very interesting taste when it comes to a lot of innuendos and a lot of things that we all get crazed over, which I'm not going to really explain. But let's just say that she a freak, man. But yeah, anyway. So yes, this whole short is basically just her trying to seduce Blitz into like doing those little fantasies that she craves and watches all the time in this matter here. And well, it goes on and on forever and ever whatsoever here. And just seeing Blitz looking at her in disgust and just being so uncertain about this matter here, being totally disgusted. Yeah, this certainly is very weird to watch. At first, when I watched the short, I thought that it was funny, but after rewatching it, I can definitely see how uncomfortable it definitely can get. I mean, I can get by on some of the jokes like this, of like an overly excited character wanting to do some of the sceneries like in those fantasy works that they always watch, but still, it goes on and on forever. It doesn't really get to the plot in every way whatsoever here. Oh, and also, she also has this weird little amulet thing that she has around in her neck, and it basically prevents any demons from getting close to her, which that wasn't even explained ever again for some weird reason. Unfortunately, this short didn't really land for me as I rewatched this matter here. It doesn't really pack in much flavor into it. It doesn't even pack in such fuel into it. I'm just literally watching a fangirl just simping over a demon in every way whatsoever here, and Blitz just getting uncomfortable in every second away. Like, what the heck? But still, though, I think that Amberline's demon form is definitely really cute. I love her so much, even if she's a freak. But unfortunately, for that matter, I'm going to have to put this in our first ever D tier, since this doesn't really have any plots. It's just the same thing over and over again, unfortunately, so that's definitely going to have to be in this matter. Alright, so our fourth one we have here is called Mission Chupacabra. Oh yes, bringing in some Spanish culture in this household here. So Blitz and everyone else basically going ahead, and they got a mission to do like always, but then they stumbled into a bunch of goats, and that alerted the people right there, and for some weird reason the people thought that Blitz over here is the Chupacabra himself, and they're trying to feed him the chickens and the goats in every way whatsoever here, and yeah, it gets a lot weirder as the further along we go here. And then somehow, Blitz basically befriended a little goat right there. I thought that their dynamic in this is actually really cute, that freaking Blitz over here befriends the little goat in this matter here. But anyway, then the other part comes in here where we got these guys right there, Agents 1 and 2, who basically come into the picture right here. So basically these characters right there are another recurring villains that come into the picture. They're basically here trying to find the evidence that surrounds with imp-related activities, and well, yeah, basically everything is going all simple and everything until one of them basically insulted the goat, and that led them into a giant fight in every way whatsoever here. Yeah, it's just like everything just happens for no reason. While during that fight, the guy who Blitz was trying to kill got killed during this matter here. A lot of nonsense keeps happening. There's a bunch of goats, and well, the agents basically just escaped, and that's that. So, yeah, basically that's the whole episode right there, just a bunch of nonsense and a bunch of goats in every way. Oh, and also, the same goat that Blitz befriended basically started a satanic cult afterwards. Like, what? I don't even know, like, what even was that, but that was so hilarious. A lot of people say that this is supposed to be a Cult of the Lambs reference. If that were to be the case here, then that is actually a lot funnier than I expected. Also, there are some really interesting facts that I didn't even notice, but the dude that Blitz and the others are trying to hunt down is actually the same guy who is the creator of the most notable things that everyone has known, such as as El Tigre and the Book of Life, and months of other projects that he's involved in, which is really cool, seeing that since this is definitely going in some cultural matters, and of course it's going to lead into some little bits of reference here and there. Yeah, and even some references that I didn't even notice, like that girl over there definitely looks like Maria from the Book of Life. So yeah, this episode was really solid. I did have a great time with this one right there, and yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff that's going on here, and I really got to appreciate the cultural affects that this definitely has right there. And I will definitely say that the fourth episode gets an S tier for me, because I really did enjoy this one. Okie dokie, and the next one we've got here is Mission Orphan Time. Yay! Basically, this is a short where we finally get to have Luna as the spotlight. So, in this short right there, Luna and Blitz are basically going after the guy named Frank McTickley, who's basically the role model for orphan children. And, well, he's basically responsible for some very disturbing factors that's saying that he's a fraud or whatsoever here. So Luna, of course, has to put on her human disguise, and Blitz has to dress up like a child for some weird reason in order to distract him from knowing that they're really demons and whatnot here. So once they meet the guy, he's basically shown to be this pure-hearted, kind person, as, well, he shows in this whole thing right there. Which is very weird, because when we see his file, he actually looks like he's happy and jolly in every way. Doesn't seem like a criminal who would do anything malicious or whatsoever here. And when we got to know him, he is definitely just like that in the photos. So there is not any malicious tactics or whatsoever here as the further along we go through the short right there. So, of course, Blitz wants to kill him, but Luna, on the other hand, she of course wants to kill him as well. But Frank, on the other hand, wanted to have her experience some things that she never actually got to do. Having a little bit of a moment with somebody that she can rekindle and take some time on here. So in some of the scenes right there is definitely a very sweet little montage where we actually got to see Frank interacting with the people who I would assume that's all the kids who have already grown up, already just going in their different lives, and who basically he took care of. It's actually a really sweet little moment right there because it definitely shows his character. So like Amberline, we got to actually see his character and see that there was actually no hints of evil in him. He's just pure goodness. He is just super sweet. He's just very passionate about love and kindness. He is married, and everything just seems like everything was perfect. But of course he does actually let Luna have the choice to kill him because, well, that's actually something that we don't actually see a lot of times here, because Luna and Frank got to spend some time today with each other like here, and we actually got to see a little bit of a soft side with Luna as she spends time with Frank. She's not just a grumpy person that we all know who's basically like an emo wolf girl who just has anger issues and daddy issues. No, she's actually somebody who actually lacks of any bond because she was an orphan herself. And she actually relates a lot with Frank as we got to see the scene of them together in the sunlight. I really love this scene. Like, it was so wholesome and it was just so bittersweet. Like, basically just having Luna be a lot more comfortable around Frank as he just gives her the words that she never actually heard. And she just needed somebody that she can actually, well, connect with because she doesn't really have a true father figure or somebody that she actually can listen to. That's a really sweet moment that I wish that the series alone would explore more around Luna and all the other female characters that we don't actually see a lot of times here. It would have just ended right there, and I would have said would have been a masterpiece of a short right here. But unfortunately, the short itself had to ruin this moment by having Frank be freaking out after Luna revealed her true form, and he tried to scream and run, and Luna basically accidentally shoots him out of reflex when she got startled and every way, and Blitz comes in and kills him on his own. because we need comedy more than sweet moments like this. Yeah, the ending really ruined the tension that I was actually looking for in the series. I wish the short could have ended like this so that we can actually have an actually really solid moment with one of the characters. Like, it's so rare for the show to actually have powerful, bittersweet moments like this that I wish we could have had more of. But no, basically, Vivzy likes to ruin stuff by basically making it into a comedy. And oh look, violence coming out of nowhere, people getting die, blood all over. Yeah, simply like that. We can't have nice moments now, can we? But above all, the short wasn't bad. I really did like the message in every way whatsoever here. I definitely did like Luna, and yeah, it definitely was a very nice short, even though the ending was ruined. So I was definitely going to put it in C tier, but I still would give credit that it still actually made some impact right there, so I'll give it a B. Alright, so we're already 5 more to go already, so we're already close. Yeah, so I can't believe that we're almost finishing up halfway. So next up we have here, Mission Bad Drives. This is basically a road rage short where we basically got to see Blitz and Moxie trying to kill their targets for today, but then a red car comes in here and messes them up in the road and got the guy killed. So Blitz, of course, was enraged, so now he has to chase down the red car that was speeding so he can definitely kill him. Leads to the boys basically going haywire in this matter here, and well, just a lot of nonsense is happening, of course, and, well, there's, like, a bunch of, like, road rage jokes in every way. I swear, freaking Blitz just never gets old with the freaking nonsense he pulls out in every way, like, come on. And there's also this joke right there that Blitz pulls after, well, Moxie was trying to figure out exactly as to why the guy was speeding in the first place.
I don't know, probably to go blow his fucking son!
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, that's gonna probably come up there later. So eventually they did catch up with the guy right there, and he was severely injured, and we actually got to see exactly as to why the guy was speeding in the first place, as Moxie and Blitz gives him the chance to speak. So it turns out that today is his son's birthday, and the reason as to why he was speeding so that he must get over to his son's birthday to blow him.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm with you, Moxie. So, basically, Blitz's theory was actually correct. And, okay, I can get by with Blitz joking about it, but this being an actual plot is just... why, bro? Like, oh yeah, and there's also some very weirdly uncomfortable jokes that Vivzy is now recently doing. Like, I noticed the trend that Vivzy herself has been doing, like Happy Campers, for example, when Moxie and Millie basically had a whole makeout scene with their disguises being as brother and sister. So yeah, it was really weird, and I don't really know how to explain it right there. But the good thing is that Moxie did kill him, and that basically was the whole thing right there. So I will say I liked some of the scenes in this, but I will definitely have to say it was pretty predictable. I really didn't really enjoy some of the jokes. The jokes didn't really land too well here, and I didn't really fond most what this whole thing was going for here. So unfortunately, I'm going to have put Bad Drives. Even though I like some of the jokes here, I don't like most of the jokes in this matter here, and the reveal plot point, and it's just, no. Alrighty then. So our 7th one right here, which is basically a Moxie focus short, and this short is called Mission Whacked Off. So in this short, while Millie and Blitz are doing a competition of fishing, seriously, why in the world couldn't this be a short? I was actually pretty disappointed that this one didn't really came into mind on the team. Like, I would have loved to see freaking Millie and Blitz do a freaking competition where they fish some monstrous fish. So while they're doing it, Moxie basically goes on a mission to assassinate a target that, of course, the others couldn't really make it to, happens to be the son of a mafia boss named Polly. At first glance, as we can see right there, Polly was being escorted by his father father, saying that he basically has been doing a bunch of reckless stuff here, and well, a lot of nonsense has been going on here. So if you didn't really catch up on the lore of the series right there, allow me to explain. Moxie grew up in a very strange relationship with his father, who basically is the leader of the mafia, and well, things didn't really go too well with him in his own childhood. He grew up in a very terrible lifestyle. Things got really hard for him as he was in jail. He met Blitz there, and well, that basically explains a little percentage on what we know about Moxie. So it actually is very fitting to see that we have Moxie basically doing the whole thing by assassinating the son of the mafia guy himself right here. So he basically got inside the place right there, but then he has to hide from the son himself, Polly, as his name is, as I did say. But then it took a turn as Moxie himself decided to play as the angel himself. One thing I gotta say about this one is that I love Richards' performance when Moxie basically plays as the angel right there. I'm getting some flashbacks of when he basically did some roles like Zim and other roles with this whole stereotypical wicked evil voice things. Yeah, I really loved when he does that, so it really gave me some flashbacks, and I really have to adore this one right there. So basically, Polly believes every single thing about it, believing that this really is an angel. So Moxie and him basically actually had a plan to kill his own father. So, of course, Polly was in on it, so they basically decided to go and talk to the guys who will be doing the deed, but it didn't really go too well. So they skipped to plan B of actually doing something else entirely. But then the father comes back, and we got a shocking reveal that the mafia guy wasn't actually a bad guy at all. So it turns out that Polly's father was actually really, really supportive of his own son. He showed love and kindness towards his own son, even if he doesn't show it all the time here. It's a tough love situation that he is actually willing to take his own head just to protect his own family. Which, that obviously contrasts with Moxie as he saw the reveal and he broke down into tears. So this whole thing actually broke him because his father never showed any compassion towards him, while the guy who he was tasked to assassinate and now works for is basically just the polar opposite of him, and he basically is upset because he never had the love and kindness from his own father. So, of course, with a pit of rage, he obviously killed him with the angel statue. And the drip that Moxie is wearing, oh my god, I love it. Like, he's giving out some Crimson Fives right there, if not better. So after this whole thing here, Millie came back from the competition and basically comforts Moxie as he discusses a lot about his own father. And I really love this scene. Like, I really love the relationship that Millie and Moxie had, not including Happy Campers. I hate that episode. This scene alone definitely shows Millie and Moxie working together as a couple, and I just really love how healthy that their relationship is. Happy Campers. This episode alone is actually really solid, that I really did enjoy. Like, we got to learn a little bit more about Moxie, even though we didn't really need to, since we already did know more about his background in X's and O's and other parts of the episodes. And yeah, as much as I really wanted a Millie short or something like that on focusing on other female characters that deserve to have some spotlights, I will happily say that Moxie's role in this is definitely really, really good. And it has to be one of my other favorites right there, my third favorite of the bunch right there. So of course, the 7th short is getting an S tier for me. Alright, so now we're already off to the 3 recent shorts that came out, and we have here short 8, Mission Big Boss. So in this one right there, Blitz, Moxie, and Millie go on another assassination mission to kill a boss from $1 million company. But of course, they basically plummeted down to the ground, and Blitz accidentally killed the boss, and now he basically dressed up as the boss so that this secretary lady, oh my god, I love her, comes in here to bring him some coffee. this is when the episode comes in, as Blitz basically abuses his little power to actually pretend to be the head boss. And we actually got to see Blitz's character here. So in this one, Blitz basically has a thing to be, well, supported and praised. So every time when somebody say like, "Oh, you're such a good boss, like, you're amazing, bro," and then he just gets turned on. Like, what? Yeah, this part right there was definitely very weird. Like, I know Blitz does want a lot of attention. Like, he's an attention seeker in every way, but this part right there, when he gets turned on every time when somebody complimented him or praises him, it just gets very weird. Like, what the heck is this bro doing? And for some reason, he hates Utah. Why do you hate Utah, man? And, yeah, that's basically the whole episode here. Meanwhile, Moxie and Millie were trying to figure out as to why the heck Blitz is not coming back, and they have to go back and get him. And, well, Blitz, for some reason, doesn't want to leave because he likes being the big bad boss right there. But then the episode brings out another big crazy twist. It turns out that the boss basically was accused of very disturbing crimes that made Blitz realize that the guy he's playing did a lot of bad things and he does not want to be accused of it. So, what is the only solution to this matter here? Burn the freaking building down. Yep, just burn it all down, never look back, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, this episode right here was very weird, and, well, a lot of the jokes were very weird too, and, well, there's just not much going on here. It's just Blitz basically just being the big fat boss himself right there. He's just praising it a little bit too much here, which it doesn't really make any sense. Blitz is already a boss in its own company, and he's basically pretending to be the boss that he just killed already, but it still had some funny moments here thanks to Brandon himself. But still, though, I mean, there's not really much going around here. It's just Blitz just doing everything, but then when he realizes the twist of the character he's playing, everything just goes back to that. And, yeah. I will say this definitely has some pretty good parts right here, but it still doesn't really have anything to have me engage on, and whatever, really. Also, a little fun fact about the short is that this secretary lady is actually voiced by none other than Grey Dalio, who has done many roles in very pretty famous shows, such as Mandy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and Frankie from Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends, and so much more, which is really cool, seeing that she's actually in the short right there, and I was really surprised to actually see her come up here. So, for the short alone, I will say that this is not really the greatest, but it's not really the worst, because I do like some of the jokes in there, but it's not really competing with some of the other stuff here. So, unfortunately, for this one here, I'm going to put this in C tier. Alrighty then, so now we're going to go on the Urban Legend sequence here. So, we have Short 9, Mission Bigfoot. So, in this one right there, the imps go on a Bigfoot hunting, as they're about to hunt down the Bigfoot himself. Or the Sasquatch, whatever you like to call it. So yeah, they basically go into the diner with their own disguises. They basically encounter a crazy old guy who basically tells them the urban legend of the Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, who basically has done some pretty horrific stuff right there, saying a bunch of nonsense, crazy dude talk, of course, a stereotypical crazy guy who basically knows everything and sees the creature and everything. And then, once we actually got to see this individual walk in, this lovely, distinguished gentleman who walked in here claiming to be the mayor right there. And, of course, by the looks of him, he looks like somebody that we can trust, right? Right? Yeah, so that basically is the Sasquatch, but he's disguising himself to not be the Sasquatch because he knew that they're after him, of course. So in this one right there, he tries his best to not let them be convinced that he is the urban legend Sasquatch right there. He basically gets a guy who dresses up as the Sasquatch and brings him over to them so that they can hunt him down, of course. But then, Blitz then stops for a moment. He then thought of something very odd about the guy and noticed that it was definitely the guy in the suit, which then begs the question, Well, Blitz basically said that there is no such thing as Sasquatch after all. So, yeah, basically this whole thing led to them just killing the random guy for no apparent reason after knowing that there is no such thing as a Sasquatch. So, yeah, the Sasquatch did succeed on not letting them actually be convinced that he definitely is the Sasquatch they are looking for, and his coast is clear. And, yeah, it basically just ends right there. Or, well, it basically ends with, one of the most WTF moments right there. What the hell, Vivsy? What were you smoking when you made that scene? So, yeah, basically that was the short right there, and it's really interesting that we're actually getting some plot points about the imps interacting with very famous urban legends that the human world has. Even the Sasquatch himself right there. Also, this is a really big deal, knowing for the fact that the Sasquatch himself is actually Tom Kenny in this. I literally did not even believe it until I saw the credits that he literally played as a Sasquatch, and I literally was shocked. Like, Tom Kenny basically was responsible for a lot of characters that we've known and loved, noticeable for a lot of roles that he played, and he's one of the most iconic voice actors known to man. And to see him in a Helluva Boss shirt is so mind-boggling. So the short itself, it wasn't really that pretty good, honestly. I mean, I do like some of the premises that it's going for, but the execution was laid to be a little bit stale. I was gonna definitely put this on C tier, but after having Tom Kenny be played as a Sasquatch, I decided to level it up right here to be B tier. Yeah. Because Tom Kenny's in there, and that makes things a lot better. Okie dokie, everybody! So here we are at the last short of this matter right here. Yes, guys, the last short of this whole collection right there that we have reviewed. So the very last short, which is the 10th short, we've got here, Mission, It's Chaz's Funeral. So, to give some context here, Chaz is one of the side characters that appeared in X's and O's, and, well, I almost freaking forgot about this dude right there, since he does anything major than being basically being in an agreement with Crimson's affairs and everything. So to have him referenced here is super mind-boggling right there. Anyway, Blitz, Moxie, and Millie go to Chaz's funeral in the Greed Rain for some weird reason. I guess they basically had some connections with Chaz, even though they didn't really do much, but whatever. So they got in, and there's definitely a lot of people that apparently know Chaz here, which is really surprising given to his character. I didn't actually think he would have a lot of friends or like lovers as well, which is so mind-boggling as to how much like people are has come to basically like, you know, just visiting him, including freaking B and Asmodeus, and even Athrothis is in there too. Like, what? So they got in here and they decided to listen in on the speech that apparently Chaz has a brother, and we got to meet yeah, this is Zach. He's apparently Chaz's identical brother, and, well, Moxie and Millie are the only people who aren't buying this whole thing, since they obviously know that this looks like, or is like Chaz, because his demeanor, his acting skills, the way how he basically phrases everything of how he looks, they definitely knew that it had to be Chaz and everything. So yeah, Moxie and Millie basically call him out, and they're saying that he really is Chaz, but people weren't buying their assumptions, and they all got kicked out. Yeah, so that's basically the whole thing with this matter here, and let me just say, this short is absolutely bonkers, man. Like, this is something that I did not expect as another short right there, let alone somebody that I nearly forgot about. So, according to this one right there, this short itself is not actually canon. Basically, this short alone is actually an April Fool's Day short, basically everything that you saw in here isn't even canon. Because, well, there's a lot of stuff that people were really confused on. Basically, like a lot of other characters that we saw, like Asmodeus and Bee apparently coming to Chaz's funeral, and some other minor characters that we also know too coming in here as well. Which is so weird knowing that Chaz basically knows all these people and everything. And there's this weird conspiracy theory that about Zach, or Chaz as people say that he's playing right there, that Jazz is Chaz in disguise, because we do see in this one clip that Zach himself is fixing his dentures, and if you all didn't know, Crimson basically has his jaws on his wall. So that begs a question here. Is it really Chaz? Or is this really Zach? Or something like that? But as Blitz says, I guess we'll never know then. Yeah, even though this is supposed to be an April Fool's Day joke and it's not canon and everything, it does leave a lot of very interesting questions about this whole thing and Chaz appearing out of nowhere. Yeah, I will say that this is definitely a lot better than Mission Bigfoot for my opinion. It doesn't really slap as the others, but it still is a fun, wild ride right there. Just seeing one of the minor characters that we almost forgot having to make a comeback for this special occasion right there, because we all know Chaz right there is a huge joke. So, for the first time, this is going in A tier right there. And that's it! That is all of my ratings on each of the shorts of Helluva Boss. This was so much fun. I really did enjoy my time with this one right there. And yeah, this definitely is a mixed bag for me. While I definitely did enjoy the series alone, I still have a lot of criticisms I definitely got to acknowledge here. While some of them were really fun, there are definitely some problems that I do see on most of them as well right here. So once again everybody, this is all just in my opinion right there. You all have your different opinions than I do with mine right there. So thank you all so much for watching, and then make sure you go subscribe to my channel, give out likes, dislikes, or anything, or try out some me. And hopefully looking forward for new videos in the future. So, where are we going now? Bye guys! Yeah, bye!